What's up? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to be standing on my soapbox for a little bit in this video and talk to you about how I finessed the ultimate finesser. So quick disclaimer, what I am talking about in this video is just based on my personal opinions and beliefs. I am not so full of ego to where I believe that my opinions and beliefs are the only correct opinions and beliefs. I respect everyone's perspective, but obviously I am just talking about mine. Now, I feel like in life there are a lot of people that finesse us. I'm talking about the government, employers, schools, the banks, lenders, and on my financial journey, actually throughout the entire financial journey, I had to get really creative and use what I had available at my fingertips to kind of level up. Basically, anything that I came across, my main goal was figuring out, okay, how do I maximize it? And I am sure that we all know life is not always fair, life is not always sweet, and common sense and morality are not always taken into consideration when it comes to things like policies, and not everyone has equal access to opportunities and resources. I could literally go to a specific area with a certain demographic and they always have, new development. Their schools are always well kept and they have the latest updates and technology. With the new development comes job opportunities, and this also helps to increase property value, which of course goes back into the community. And I can literally drive 10 minutes down the road and it's like a food desert. The schools are shit. Things are not kept up. The businesses are all boarded up. A lot of them are closed down, so there are not a lot of job opportunities. And of course, if the businesses are not thriving, the community is not kept up, that does affect property value, which would affect, what would be able to go back into the community. So both sides of the track have these cycles that they're in, and I don't believe that that is accidental. Commenters would say, hey, there needs to be more focus on this area and these people, because giving them opportunities and resources would help to increase property value. It would help to bring new businesses, therefore job opportunities. It would help to reduce crime. But once again, I don't believe this is accidental. There are people in this life who will finesse you. And when I had the opportunity to finesse who I feel like is the ultimate finesser, I took that being student loan lenders. I do not know about you, but when I started college, I was 18, I was young, I was naive, and I really did not comprehend student loans. I didn't know how interest rates worked, let alone how student loans worked, and no one really explained it to me either. Yes, it is your responsibility to educate yourself on things that involve borrowing, but I feel like expecting our youth to fully grasp how student loans will impact their lives in the future, it is a bit unrealistic. I feel that society pushes higher education on children, and even though I'm starting to notice a shift, there's still a big push when it comes to higher education and going to college. And I remember being in high school and us all being put in a room and filling out applications. Like, there was a huge push for higher education, and we were told, if we want to make a good living and have a good life, you need a college degree. But once again, not everyone has equal access to opportunities and resources. So what do these kids do when their families are not able to afford to put them through college? They go out and they get student loans, and a lot of them are naive, like I was. We were not taught how these loans work, and so I witnessed firsthand what can happen when you're uneducated about these things. It leaves you open to being taken advantage of, and a lot of people are taken advantage of, unfortunately. If you are in student loan debt, you are the prize. You are someone's profit. Someone is making income off of your debt, and if that debt were to be wiped out, there goes someone's income. And thus, I think that makes up a big part of the big fuss that we're seeing right now when it comes to student loans. So how did I finesse them? Let's take it back, obviously, to my college days. I was super broke, working 2 part-time jobs, and I fell pregnant my sophomore year. I still worked both jobs Monday through Sunday, taking 6 classes, some of which had labs, and I worked those 2 jobs up until about my 5th or 6th month of pregnancy, and then homegirl just could not do it anymore. And I did have an auto loan at that time that took up one of my paychecks. Was this a smart decision to get an auto loan? No. I got that auto loan when I was 18. Once again, I was naive. I was not really educated when it came to finances, and so I made a bad decision. But through this painful decision, I learned about interest rates and how loans worked. And that was because I was trying to figure out how I could get some relief from this loan, and eventually I got to a place where I started to take out more student loans, more than what I needed for my tuition and school supplies, and that was strategic. It was so that I got a student loan refund check. And you know, if you were in college, that student loan refund check time was literally like Christmas. We were counting down the days waiting for our student loan refund check, okay? And what I find that is so interesting in the personal finance community is that you can take one topic and get 20 different perspectives and beliefs on it. And what I notice is that anytime refunds are talked about, I'm talking about tax refunds, school refunds, stimulus checks, things like that, there are a lot of people who believe that most people are going out and just blowing this money. And now, yes, that does happen. There are people who blow this money on things that they don't need. I think that goes back to a lack of financial literacy. But for me, these school checks went to paying up my auto loan because that was my biggest burden at the time. I needed to figure out a way to get that down, as well as going to my savings because my expenses exceeded my income at that time. So I would take what was left of my student loan refund checks and I would put it in savings, and I would pull what I needed, that gap between my expenses and my income, so that I could pay for myself and my child, because I just had my daughter at the time, but I was needing extra help to pay for our expenses. Now, doing this in addition to my tax refund eventually got me to a place where I was able to refinance my auto loan, and I refinanced at 2.1% with a local credit union, and this helped lower my auto loan by $100 a month. So I now had extra money to work into my budget, and it helped me to pay off my debt a lot faster because I basically had no interest. The student loan pause finesse. Now, when everything with the pandemic broke out and the student loan payments and interest were paused, I saw that as an opportunity to go full steam ahead with my debt payoff plan. I'm like, no interest, which means that if I make payments, my full payments are going to the principal. I don't have to make payments. I saw this as the ultimate finesse. So I'm like, yes, sis, it is your time to shine. So I went full steam ahead with my plan because I needed to take advantage of this opportunity. So this was kind of like a triple finesse to me because there was no interest, there was no payment, and we also got these stimmy checks. So we were getting stimulus checks. And so what I did, I threw all of my extra money towards my student loans because, once again, I am not having to share my payments with interest. So a lot more of my money is going to pay off the balance. And I threw my stimulus checks towards this as well to help speed up the process while the interest rate was still at 0%. And this allowed me to pay off my student loan debt in 2020. Now, my student loan debt was my last debt, so I actually became officially debt-free in 2020. The student loan cancellation finesse. So this year when Biden announced the student loan forgiveness plan, I was kind of like, I don't really want to mess with it. I've already paid off my student loan debt. But then there's that side of me that's like, always trying to capitalize off something. And I was kind of like, sis, you need to get your money back and use it as an investment. Once again, I was always having to get creative throughout my financial journey, so I'm always looking for ways to take advantage of a situation and use it ethically as a way to get myself to a higher financial position. And so I decided, okay, it would not hurt to call my student loan servicer to see how much I paid in 2020 and how much I could get back as a refund. And she told me that it would be over $9,000. Sis, girl. Needless to say, I requested my money back. I'm like, get your money back. I requested my money back, and once it was deposited into my account, I quickly transferred it over to my Ally savings. And my initial plan was to keep the money in savings, wait until the plan was approved, and then once my student loan payments were wiped out again, then I would use that $9,000 as a down payment on a duplex using an FHA loan, which only requires a 3.5% down payment. Now, we all know people are flipping tables over the student loan forgiveness plan. I respect both sides. I see and understand both sides, but the way I see it personally, I do not have time for toddler-like bickering. So I decided, you know what, while they're doing what they're doing, I'm gonna go ahead and go full steam ahead with my plan because I'm in a much better financial position and I can actually handle the $9,000. And the one thing that really gave me confidence to just go ahead with my plan was I called up a few lenders and asked them, you know, would the $9,000 make a huge difference in the application process as far as getting the pre-approval for a loan? And the lender that I went with basically said that it was just like a drop in the bucket for me. It would not really impact anything, and so I should just go ahead and get started. And so that's what I did. You guys know, if you are not a newbie here, I have been taking you guys along the journey as I am trying to find a property, and this is exactly how I am doing it. I use the student loan forgiveness plan and the ability to get my money back to help me fund this investment. Now, once again, I will say I am in a much better financial position. I am able to handle this $9,000 because if you do request a refund, obviously it's opening up any closed accounts and adding on that refund amount to your loans. So if you are someone who is in debt, you know, you are barely able to make your payments, I don't recommend using the money until we see what happens with the, you know, Supreme Court in February. But with me, my situation, I felt confident going forward. So because of this, I will be a property owner. I will be a landlord that moves with integrity, and God willing, my tenants' rent will pay all or the majority of my mortgage, and this first property will eventually be given to my daughter, and my second property will eventually be given to my son. And my plan is that once I get enough properties to pay for a liability like a single family home, then I will settle down and get my single family home. And disclaimer again, because you know, I know we all have different perspectives. I know that homeowners, some see their home as an asset, some see their home as a liability. To me, neither side is incorrect. It's just based on your circumstances and your unique personal life. For me, I am a single mother. If I were to start off with a single family home, that is a liability because I am paying out for, you know, to the bank every single month. Anything that breaks down, it's on me. I have no income coming in from this every single month. So to me, it's a liability. That's the way I make it make sense in my head. And a duplex is more of an asset because I have income flowing through every single month because of my tenants. This wraps up my little story on how I finessed the finessers. Leave me comments down below. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts on, you know, the whole student loan forgiveness madness going on right now. I would love to hear your thoughts on, you know, how drastically different areas that are close to each other are based on opportunities and resources. If you went to college and you got student loans, how is that impacting your life right now? Let's have a discussion down below. Remember, please keep it cute, Keep it classy. We're not gonna argue. We're gonna respect everyone's point of view and perspectives. But I will catch you guys in the next video.